for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Well, hey everybody, it's been a minute. Welcome back to Broadcast Team Alpha. And we are so going out of the box in the best way tonight. We have a guest that I'm so honored and grateful to have with us. He is a doctor that takes self-love to an art form, like the healing arts. I heard him say recently on a video that people have to take care of each other, that couples take care of each other and they take care of the kids, but our guest actually empowers people to the highest truth by teaching us how to master our mind to heal our body. Augie?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is going to be exciting. We have a doctor with us that jumped out of the medical box 40-some years ago and started looking for answers and cures outside of the box. Hey, folks, do you remember the saying, it's better with an ounce of prevention than a pound of cure? Yeah, sometimes a pound is not enough. We need a ton. And I bet some of you out there have had that ton of cure. It comes in different forms. It can come in form of a knife. It can come in form of a month worth of chemo where you are throwing up every day. And it's not very pleasurable. I tell you, natural medicine works. Mm-hmm. I have a personal example right from this house, and I'm going to spend 25 seconds telling this because it's really important. About 2.5 years ago, a 72-year-old friend, a woman, moved into this house to stay with us. She was on 18 pharmaceuticals, severe diabetic. Her numbers bounced between 300 to 400. Don't think it ever got to 400, but it was close. We helped her correct her eating habit, helped her get minerals, enzymes, and what else the body needs to replenish itself. And a little over a year later, probably a year and a half, after implementing what we learned from the videos of our guest tonight and others, she uses no pharmaceuticals, no diabetes. She looked younger, and listen, she got herself a boyfriend, and she is 75. Charlotte is happy again. So what I'm telling you, the listeners out there, is that if you're a little older, or think you are, and you don't feel like much anymore, you spend $500 a month on pharmaceuticals, I tell you, what I told you about Charlotte, that could be you. So what I'd like you to do tonight, sit back, relax, put your feet on the table, and listen really close to our guest, because this is Dr. Wolfe, a world-renowned physician specializing in natural medicine. And I hope you have a pen and paper close by, because I think you're just going to want to write down some of the things that he talks about. For Dr. Wolfe, he has 40 years of experience in natural medicine, and he is called the Doc of Detox. He has a doctorate in natural medicine and acupuncture and is certified by the Board of Integrative Medicine. He is a director of the prestigious International Training Institute of Health. He has been speaking and been interviewed on numerous health summits and video presentations, including the very well-known global video documentary called The Truth About Cancer and The Truth About Detox. This has been, I hear that it's been seen by into the hundreds of millions of people globally. And Dr. Wolfe is also a best-selling author of the book Healthy to 100, and he has created the Doc of Detox show, and also Doc Talk Live questions and answers. You got to look for that, folks. That's interesting. And he is based in I don't know if I can pronounce this one. Kelowna, British Columbia in Canada, where he teaches, treats people, and he consults with patients. And now you heard enough from me. I want to welcome Dr. Wolfe to the show. Welcome here.
Welcome, Dr. Wolfe.
Thank you, Augie, and thank you, Nori. I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gosh, there is so much to talk about.
I know. Where should we start?
Yeah. The quantum physics tells us that we are living in a mind-created universe. So our mind has a lot of influence on the body and the health. Do you think you could start there?
I will. I'll start there. And actually what we're starting with is we're going to start with the invisible, which is the invincible. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest part to wrap your head around on this planet, okay, is because everything is so physical and everything is so visible to us. And we focus on the physical. And that's why we're so sick today, is because we focus on the physical. And believe it or not, we're so sick because we've been programmed to focus on the physical. Now, I'll just try to give some the domino effect of what's really going on here, or what really should go on here. And that is that the invisible creates the visible. The invisible creates the physical. Einstein said that E equals mc squared. Now, if you understand that, then you know that what that means is, okay, energy creates mass. Now, let's talk about something here. Energy creates mass. So understand, two people could come together and create a baby, or one person all by themselves can create a tumor. So let's talk about where the root of that really comes from. And that's this. Perception is everything. Yeah. Perception is everything. So thoughts, which are the most powerful thing that you can hold, but you can't hold it, but you can hold it in your mind. The most powerful thing that you can have are thoughts. Now, thoughts make and shape your reality. Thoughts make and shape your personality. Mm-hmm. And understand something. So let's go. So the first thing we always have is we have an image. That image is dependent on our perception. When we get an image, right away with any image, a thought will pop up to match that image, because we see everything in images. That's the way our brain works. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we have that thought, let's look what that thought is. That thought is going to be based on love or hate. There's only two emotions on this planet, love or hate. Mm-hmm. And we have joy, bliss, happiness, many others underneath love. We have fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, and many others under hate. So understand something. Mm-hmm. You're either running love programs or you're running hate programs. And I'm going to tell you right now that the majority of the population, 70% of their programs are based on self-hate. Now, so we start off with perception. We get an image of something. That image, okay, creates a thought. That thought creates an emotion. And the E in emotion stands for energy in motion. That energy in motion creates a frequency. Now, just like a donut and an apple, which one has a higher frequency? Well, one's alive, one's processed. So the same thing. When we deal with love, we have high vibrational frequencies that heal. When we have hate, okay, we disintegrate. We create inflammation in the body. So now, negative emotion creates a negative frequency. Understand something. Your brain, okay, which is the chemist, all right? Your brain, everybody thinks that you think from your brain. I want everybody to close their eyes right now, and I want you to picture in your left foot, in your big toe, is your brain. Look how easy that is. And you should have been able to do that right away, because actual consciousness is all around us, and it's in us. It's in every cell. It's in all our bacteria. It's in every molecule that we are. Okay, so now, so the frequency whether it's negative or positive, is going to trigger the chemist, which is the brain. Remember, your brain only does very few things. It stores programs and it regulates hormones and chemicals. That's it. That's it. If you put it down into a nutshell. So it's going to store the programs, no matter if they're good or bad, healing you or killing you. Whatever the prominent programs are stored in your subconscious mind, which is 90% of your mind. Now, if you have a negative emotion, that negative frequency is going to trigger the brain, and it's going to release what we call HAC, H-A-C, which is histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. All three of those things are very acidic. Now, whether you want to believe this or not, but 9,999 people out of 10,000 are dripping this like a tap that won't turn off, but it just has that drip, and it drips 24/7. How many people say they can't sleep at night anymore? How many people have anxiety today? How many people actually know what total peace is? You know, people say, learn how to meditate. I say, no, you don't need to learn how to meditate when you connect to your breath and you understand that the greatest part of you is spirit. And once you do that, then your whole day is a meditation. Then we don't go into reaction. We go into personal action if it's needed. And if it isn't, we need to mind our own business. So now what happens is we trigger the hack, which is these acidic chemicals. They go into the body and they create the inflammation, the scar tissue formation, the crystallization, and the displaced calcium, which leads to physical blocks in the body. And I can prove that every disease, all aging, is based on displaced calcium, scar tissue, and crystallization, and that's the end of it. And we're an inflammation nation, and we've never been so inflamed as we are today. Now, the love frequency is going to release what? Dose. It's D-O-S-E, okay? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And if you knew how to self-medicate with vitamin L, which is love, which is self-love, and you can learn, and I could teach you how to do that, and you could do that moment by moment, because you only have power in the present moment. You don't have it in the past, you don't have it in the future, and your subconscious doesn't like your past or your future. Okay, I mean, sorry, your subconscious hates your present, and it hates the future, but it likes to wallow in the past, because your subconscious, it only stores your beliefs. And if your beliefs are dysfunctional, which we know that 70 to 90% of all the beliefs in the majority of the population are that way. 92% of the population has autoimmune disease. Only 8% of the population is walking around what I would say, in a place of what we might call health. Okay, so now all of this, is going to be determined way back to where we were before, is with your thoughts. So your thoughts make and shape you. They create your personality. And if you want to change your reality, you need to change parts of your personality. You know how people say, well, this is who I am. This is who I am. No, it's not who you are, actually. You are made up of beliefs from your mother and your father, your religion, and all the systems out there, and you're continually being programmed, and it's herd mentality. And guess what? The herd is off to the butchers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. So I have a personal example to just highlight what you're saying. My whole life, I didn't know my birth family because I was adopted, and there was such a bliss in my ignorance because I was healthy. I was working out. I taught aerobics. I believed that I could be free of diseases because I didn't know what my family had experienced. And then I recently met my birth family over the period of 3 years, and I've realized that I have taken on some of their history, their medical history. And I didn't do that before I knew it. So I feel like I am living, what you're talking about, on the wrong side of the fence. Yeah.
Well, the moment that you were infused into your mother's womb, was the first time that you started taking in information, because information is not words. Information is frequency, because we are frequency. I mean, if you take a look at really what's going on, we are 7 octillion, okay, molecules. Now that's 7 billion times 7 billion times 7 billion. That's 7 octillion molecules. And understand that every molecule that we're made out of, okay, is 99.999999996% empty space. So if you look at that, all the molecules that you're made out of is basically almost empty space. Did you know that if you took all the empty space out of every human being's molecules, which they're made out of 7 billion people that are on the planet, we'd all fit in one sugar cube. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, that's science and it's fact. So understand, we've got our head up our butt. We don't even know what we are, where we came from, and we don't understand our potential. And I'll tell you, health is in not eating. Health is not in eating. And the reality is I only do one meal a day. I'm down to one meal a day. And I'll tell you, if anybody takes a look at the energy I put out, the schedule I have, I'm almost 64, and I have pretty well everybody who works for me. I have a huge staff, and they're all in their 20s and 30s, and I keep them all on their toes. The reality is that when you understand that you are an infinite spirit, okay, and that's what you are, and you're not even this physical body. I mean, you've taken on this vehicle so that you could come down here and play the earth game. And the earth game, when you get down here, everybody loses themselves. Everybody loses their spirit, misplaces it. But we do that on purpose. But the problem is most never reclaim it. So they focus on the physical body, which is dis-ease. So here's the deal. If you don't feed the spirit, you don't heal the body. Go ahead and feed the body, and you'll never find your spirit. So there you go.
I love that.
Man.
Yeah. And really, like, some of the only things you should put up your butt is coffee, right? Like coffee enemas.
Yeah.
and essential oils, right? Essential oil capsules. Did I hear you say that?
Well, there's lots of things that you can infuse into the large intestine, but we're doing what we call the ultimate coffee enema, where we'll use like a special type of coffee, and then we'll use what's called black gold, and we'll use tummy love when we make what we call the ultimate coffee enema, because a lot of people don't understand there's two things you got to do no matter. Okay, first of all, if you want to stay vibrantly healthy, you got to do these two things. If you're sick, you got to do these two things. And that's the first thing, is get the cork out of your butt, which means go with the flow and stop holding on to your crap. Okay. Next thing is that you've got to change the filter, which is your liver. And if you can do that, get the cork out and then change the filter, then guess what? Then you can start to actually create the flow of energy. Every physical block in the body slows down not just the invisible energy, but the lymph and the blood. And then we get stagnation, which eventually leads into tissue disintegration. And what we see today is 50% of the women today leak urine, okay? And the biggest operations that are done are myomectomy, hysterectomy, and cesareans. And it's all done around the pelvis and on the abdomen, which are the holy grail of the body. And then we get all these adhesions, all the scar tissue, displaced calcium. So we get these physical blocks. And with these physical blocks that come in, it'll ruin your life. And here, I'm gonna tell you something. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about chiropractic, they move bones, but the problem isn't in the bones. Yes, when you align bones and you move them, it makes you feel better. It opens up the line of flow. But the reality is, scar tissue is the issue. Displaced calcium is the issue. Crystallization is the issue. Adhesions are the issue. And then when you look at acupuncture, you look at massage, you look at physio, none of these things ever touch it. Why do you think that the majority of the population is walking around limping today? I mean, have you ever seen so many canes, walkers, wheelchairs, nursing homes have to be made? People, I mean, you can go to Costco right now and there's a whole aisle of Depends for every age and for every size, because now we've all become victims and we're all going to poop our pants and pee in our pants now because we've become so crippled. and the pelvic floor in men and women is rotting out because nobody understands that the large intestine is the Holy Grail. The medical system completely abused the large intestine, not the doctors. The doctors are programmed to do it, and the pharmaceutical companies know that if they can destroy the bacteria in your large intestine, they can destroy your immune system, which destroys your life. And then from there, you go from painkillers to try to suppress the pain, because guess what? We don't like ourselves. We don't like our thoughts. And we run from pain, when meanwhile, pain is a GPS. It's our best friend till the end. And you know what? Right now, if I were to think about the pain I have a little bit in my back. And you know what? That's okay. It's not anything that's taking my mind away, but anybody that is running from pain have made pain into an enemy. And as long as you're going to make pain into an enemy, you will live a life of hell, because your body's going to be inflamed. And then if you take painkillers, you are still in pain. You've disconnected the body from the brain, and the pain is still there, which means the inflammation, and that inflammation is burning up your tissues, and that's the issue. So you're burning up and you don't even know it. It's like you had a fire in your house, but you can't smell and you can't see. You're just going to burn up. And the whole pharmaceutical industry, they know this. And what you do is they get you, for every 10 years that you're alive, they want you on one drug. Right? Well, we know that when we deal with ADD, ADHD with children, and we put them on drugs. So by the time you're 60, you're supposed to be on 6. And then when no longer the drugs work and you've totally turned into a ball of scar tissue, displaced calcium, and you've got all these adhesions, and now you got to go to surgery and have hip replacement, or you've got to have a knee replacement, or you've got to get a big fibroid cut out of your pelvis, or you've got adhesions that are choking off your intestines, and now you can't poop properly, you can't make love properly, and you can't hold your urine. And so the whole thing is all set up like that. And then they start putting utensils into you, like knee replacement, or they put mesh into you. Remember how they used to suture you if you have a hiatal hernia? Yeah. Or now they put mesh in, which is guaranteed to cause cancer and autoimmune diseases like crazy. That's why they put the mesh in. They make the mesh for $25. They get $2,000 when they sell the mesh to the hospitals. And then when the mesh goes in there, your life is over. Right. Ask anybody that gets mesh put in them. So everything is here. The robotic industry wants to make us into robots. The surgeons want to, they want to keep cutting away parts of our body, and we're taught to hate ourselves. I hope you know. I bet you don't know one person that's totally in love with themselves, totally honest, respects and loves themselves, and doesn't even have to forgive themselves. The only way you can live on this planet is if you get to a place that you never have to forgive yourself. You learn, but you don't burn. And you don't have to forgive yourself, because guess what? We're always going to make mistakes. I don't ever remember being here. And this whole sinner thing, well, you can put that into a garbage can, because that which created the whole universe is beyond love. And that which created the whole universe does not need a straitjacket or Prozac.
No, now we're down to about 30 seconds before the break here, so hang on to that thought, and we will come back after the break with Dr. Gerald Wolfe, and this is gonna get good. Stay with us.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Call now. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
Hello, KCOR listeners. Lorian Fenton here from the Fenton Files to tell you about UFOCon 2020 in San Francisco, February 20th through 23rd. A conference like no other, UFOCon is where experiencers are going to reveal new information and science and consciousness will collide. So get your tickets at UFOCon2020.com. That's UFOCon2020.com. Don't miss what will be the most talked about conference of the decade.
Immerse yourself in an epic journey through time where ancient mysteries unfold within a story of love and betrayal, as well as a battle of good versus evil in The Emissary Book 1. The reader's favorite gold medal award winner for visionary fiction 2019, the action and adventure of The Emissary continues in The Emerald Tablet, Book 2. The 2019's Bronze Medal Award winner, The Emissary and The Emerald Tablet by Tamara Veach and Rennie DeFazio are both available now on Amazon.com. Let your reading adventure begin.
Great.
It's great. I think it's great. I think it's
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
great. Make a note of it. It's great.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Looking for a radio show like no other?
We need something brand new.
Then tune into the KCOR Digital Radio Network, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and get ready for The Quantum Shift. A great shift of consciousness is sweeping across the Earth. Are you ready for the dimensional shift?
It is amazing, is it not?
The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Hosted by Dr. Sam Muggsy and Kent Dunn. Be part of the fifth dimensional reality, where consciousness prevails and the universal law of one is the only true reality. The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
So big shout out to the chat room. You guys are rocking it in there. Really good to see you all. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Rob asks, where is the best place to get all of the natural medicines, Dr. Wolfe?
Where's the best place to get them?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a loaded question. I mean,
True.
We know that natural medicines come from nature. And then, as far as where to get them, well, first of all, understand something. You need to find somebody that is got a lot of integrity, because a lot of natural medicines are watered down, okay? Mm-hmm. And they can say natural and they're not natural. And natural doesn't mean organic, and it doesn't mean pure. And so when you say that, you know what, I'd say do your homework and really look at the integrity of the practitioner, the person that's selling the products, and then, you know what, find out what their purpose is. I mean, I know a lot of people, and I know some of the top people in health, and I wouldn't buy their products if you made me, because I know right now that they're just into marketing. And so look at somebody that really has a passion, and their purpose is really to empower everyone and to deliver the highest frequency, beautiful products. So that's my answer right there.
And I'll tell you though, when it comes to that, I want to say something, and that is that folks, go to Dr. Dr. Wolfe's website and have a look around, because I have, and I've known him for a long time, and I know he is that kind of guy. Would you give people your website here, and then we'll do it at the end of the show again?
Sure. It's my website is docofdetox.com. And that's my website where you can find information and my products. And then if you go to International Training Institute of Health, this is where we teach whole life coach certification, how to actually learn how to treat the patient and on an emotional and physical level. And we also teach what's called Wolfe non-surgical, which is actually, and I'm just going to keep it in a nutshell. We have a money-back guarantee that you're not going to go to surgery. Okay. Yeah. So we go in, and I don't care if it's a hip surgery, or they think they got to fuse your spine, or they got to put a rod in your spine, they got to replace or do a knee replacement, or they say that they got to go in and do ablation, or they got to go in and do surgery to remove scar tissue. I say come to us first, and we can prove that we can turn that scar tissue back into connective tissue. And when they tell you that there's no tissue left, no cartilage left in that joint, they don't know what they're talking about, because I'm going to tell you something. It's still there. It's just calcified, so it doesn't show up on the x-ray. And you know what? It's the funniest thing. But back in 1910, when medical doctors first started to come onto the scene, that's when the body forgot how to heal itself. Mm-hmm. Isn't that something?
Yeah. You were talking before the break also about that you were down to one meal a day. I'm interested in hearing, what does that meal look like?
Okay, so if I can say this before I say about the one meal a day, just understand something, that when you learn to master your mind, when you learn not to push pain away, but to learn how to master pain, not just manage it, and when you learn that your day becomes a meditation, no matter what the drama, trauma, the circumstance, if you stay connected to your breath, and if it's none of your business, you mind your own business. Mm-hmm. And if you can help somebody, then take action. But if you can't help them, forget the reaction, because it's the reaction that's killing everyone. So understand, I could not just eat one meal a day if, okay, I was terrorizing myself. And I'm telling you right now that in my lifetime, I've only met 3 to 4 people that were truly in love with themselves and knew how to live on this planet in full potential. So I'm not saying I'm there, but as far as my meal goes, it'll change, Like last night I had a bean patty and I had a salad, and tonight I'm just going to have a really big salad. But today, I'll tell you what I did. So I do not take anything in except liquids until usually 1 o'clock. So intermittent fasting is really, truly the key. But when I get up in the morning, I will do like a quart of water with fulvic concentrate in it. And then I'll do another quart with tummy love in it. But then I'll move over into lemon, honey, and cayenne, which everybody loves that. This time of year, everybody's walking around sick. So I drink about 40 ounces of that a day. By the time that 1 o'clock comes, I'll do a blender drink of 40 ounces. And I'll actually put in there a bunch of organic berries, almond milk. I'll put in some black gold, which is a humic fulvic powder. And then I'll put in a little bit of my magnesium powder. And then I'll put in just the almond milk and the berries, and then I'll blend that up, and it's really delicious. And I'll put in some moringa powder, Zija moringa powder. It's vanilla, And it's a really great tasting shake. So when I say I don't eat, I don't sit down and have a meal that is going to take energy. Understand, if you are the majority and you eat what we would call a healthy meal for North Americans, 3 meals a day, you will be burning up as much energy as if you walk 10 miles to digest those 3 meals. So I'm going to tell you something. I can outthink anyone on my feet because I'm bringing in concentrated, high vibrational nutrition that takes no energy to digest. So I don't have to have my blood leave my brain and my other organs. It just goes in. And if most of it is what we would say pre-digested, pre-assimilated. And then everything I drink, I structure. And when you structure things, there's no surface tension. So you have an absorption of about 1,000% higher into your cells. So the reality is if whatever you bring in, if it doesn't take any energy and it gives energy, what does that make you? That makes you into a superhuman being. So the more concentrated the food is, and the more low vibrational it is, the more you're going to call on your digestive enzymes. And we just hope to God you still have them, because most people have burnt them out.
How do they get burnt out from all of the toxins? And
no, well, they get burnt out from anxiety, because you got to understand that, when you're stressing out, you're dumping hydrochloric acid into your stomach. And and when you're stressing out, you create this whole digestive tract thing. Your digestive tract, it's always kind of dumping enzymes, and it's always kind of working, and it gets really how can I say this, confused, right? Yeah. And understand too that, blood type O's, they've got way stronger hydrochloric acid. Blood type A's don't. And then, here's our society. I mean, we went from eating, so look at this. Just back in the, we think our ancestors used to eat animals, and we were so wrong. They might kill a chicken like once a month. I mean, everybody's delusional here, thinking that people lived on meat. They lived off root vegetables, for God's sakes, and they lived off grains, and they lived off legumes. And, today we eat all these dead cadavers. I mean, that's what we're doing, we're eating dead cadavers. I mean, how many dead animals does it take for you to heal? So, and I don't care, if they've been fed, if they're free range and they've been organically fed. I mean, that's all just so crazy. That we think that we're going to eat dead animals and it's going to make us well. Some people digest them better, and because they're O types or they chew their food enough. But at the end of the day, everything is about vibration and healing. And now with 5G and with all this invisible electrical pollution and GMOs and glyphosate, go ahead. See how long you're going to get away with eating low vibrational food and not having a chronic illness.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I also see we have a question in the chat room here from Brian on Twitter. And they say we have years of waste backed up in our system. What is the best way to clear all that dead waste out of our system naturally? Okay.
I believe that we can have years of waste in our system. And can I deviate just a little?
Please. Yeah.
Actually, what we have is issues in our tissues. So what we have emotional issues that are suppressed in our tissues. And that's really what holds on to the waste. That's why some people will do like a parasite cleanse every 3 months, every 6 months, because they have to continually do that, because the tissue stays low vibrational for all the negative emotions you can't suppress. So you bury them in your body. There is no disease unless there's a dysfunctional belief about oneself. And, people are going, oh, that's not true. Well, yeah, it is. I mean, you can see there's lots of different people that have lots of different conditions, and they all do the same thing. So why are they coming up with different conditions? Because they have a different personality, because they have a different perception about things. We can all see the same thing today. 10 of us could see the same thing, and we'll all have different effects from it. Now, As far as cleansing goes, well, the first thing is you got to do structured water. That's the only water that's found in nature. It's not called Kangen water. Now, Kangen water is a healthy water. It's electron water, and it is healthy. But first and foremost, we want structured water. That's what rainwater is. Why do you think when it rains, and right now there's heavy metals in it, there's chemicals in it, and all those microorganisms, birds, bees, flowers, trees, why aren't they being poisoned? And how come our crops are just as good today as they were 500 years ago? Because when rain is structured, even though there's toxins in it, it cannot harm a living organism. So I travel all over the world, and I'll put my little structure unit where the water just runs through, and I'll put that through, and there's no filter, and I'll drink water from everywhere around the world. And I do. I go all over the world lecturing and teaching. So understand, we don't understand the power of frequency. We don't know that we are light energy frequency beings, first and foremost. So first of all, do you drink enough water? Women should drink at least 3 quarts. Men should drink at least 4 quarts. It needs to be structured water. Next thing is, you need to feel like you are completely evacuating every day, that you feel clean inside. You know, people feel dirty, because they're dirty inside. And the thing is it's not so much of pounds and pounds of waste. It's the toxins that actually bring down the oxygen levels and the nutrition levels. And when we do that, then our good bacteria goes bad to bad bacteria. Our yeast that we need in our body goes to fungus, and it drills holes in us. So now the waste goes into the bloodstream. And then when we get low vibrational tissue, the worms, they come alive. Now you have to understand that all the bad bacteria that's out there, the worms and all of that, live in us anyways. I could lock you in a room and I could feed you things that are toxic and low vibrational. And how in the heck would you be so full of fungus and full of all these worms and even cancer parasites? And what did they do? They didn't crawl into the room and crawl into you. Right. When you create a low vibrational environment, you wake up low vibrational critters that say, when we have a low vibration tissue, it says that we're getting ready to die. That's what it is. Right. So people are walking around with diseases because they have low vibrational tissue. So all these critters come in to eat you up and to get you ready for the ground.
Wow. So I saw some of your videos, and I was particularly intrigued by the video where this family was going to take their life back, and the woman had 11 surgeries.
Yes.
Around her pelvic and abdominal area. And do people like her find you? I mean, why can't we find you after the first surgery, or maybe not even have a surgery? Like, do people find you only after something big has happened to them, or can you?
I'm going to try to answer this, and most people aren't going to get it.
Okay.
Because you know what? And I mean this in the best way, so please, everybody, just know that. But I don't know I hardly know anybody that actually loves themselves. I mean, I don't want you to answer this question, but be honest. How much do you actually love yourself? And you're going to tell me that, well, my dog takes up about 20% of my heart. My mother and father take up about 40%. My kids take up about 50%. And my husband takes up another 10%. So there's only maybe 5% of love that I have for myself. No, you got to fill your own heart up with love every day, completely full, and shine that light on the world. Let me tell you something. I don't want to get into it today because that's another debate. But we have been programmed by groups, I won't get into it who, okay, that we're unworthy to love. And that, you know what, you're supposed to get your love from outside yourself. Why do you think heart disease is the main disease on the planet? Well, because your heart records all your love stories, which are mainly horror stories. And guess what? You tell me the last person that you fell in love with, that you still feel they love you that much and that they're filling your heart up as much as they did the first 6 months to a year. And I'll tell you that you're fibbing, because that's not true. So, but the reality is they never did fill your heart. They had a frequency that they were targeting onto you, and it was actually triggering the love you have already inside of you, and you thought it was coming from them. Nobody can give you love. They can give you hugs, they can give you kisses, they can give you smiles, they can give you nice gestures, but the love that you had when you felt like your heart was going to explode, that was love you actually had inside of yourself that you can utilize for yourself any moment of the day. And that's why people are walking around with broken hearts, and that's why they have heart disease, that's why they have cancer, that's why they have diabetes. They don't have enough sweetness in their life, so they got to get a bunch of sweets in their life. You know, they have liver disease, they have liver dysfunction because they hate their life, they hate themselves, they hate somebody that was supposed to love them, but they didn't love them. Hate goes into the liver, and fear goes into the kidneys. And I could keep going on, and guess what? You'll always see, no matter what disease a person has, you can do an x-ray, and you will see that there will be scar tissue or inflammation in that exact part of the brain. And it'll show, and you'll be able to say where the disease is in the person by looking at their brain. Or if I said to you, okay, so you have liver disease, I can then get an x-ray of you, and we can find the exact place that refers to the brain, and you'll have inflammation or scar tissue there, depending on how long you've had that disease. So there it is. And that's real science.
That's good. That is really good stuff. But
yeah.
So, you know, we're hearing the buzzword self-love, and people, you know, are looking at that. But, you know, we're so programmed not to love ourselves that it's a conscious decision to begin to love ourselves. Do you agree with that? Is that where it starts?
No. Well, first of all, when you come here, okay, you're not in love with your parents. You're so in love with yourself. Right. You know, take a look at any baby. They're not feeling love from the parents. They think that they're the alpha and the omega of the world. And then when you start to walk and talk, you start acting like your parents. Who else would you act like, right? Exactly. You take on what they are. So when you start to walk and talk, you start acting like your parents, and then you get punished for that because they don't like themselves either. So the reality is, by the time that you're 11, 12, you're looking for your friends to be your family because your parents said they were going to love you unconditionally, but then there's all these conditions. So now you know that love sucks. And then you go and you find your boyfriend or your girlfriend by the time you're 13, and your heart explodes with love, but it's actually just the love that you suppressed inside yourself that you could conform to the herd. So then what happens is then you keep going through relationships because you can't live without love. Nobody can live without love. You will die. And that's why love is a self-serve job. Now, do I have a wife? Yes. Do I have children? Yes. And because I totally love myself, do I ignore them? Yes. No, of course I don't. People who totally love themselves totally love everybody else. Right. There's not one person on this planet I hate, even people who attack me. I don't like their beliefs, but I love everyone, because to totally love yourself, you must love everybody, but you don't have to like them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I see we have only 5 minutes left of the show here, and could you spend about 30 seconds on what do you do for exercise?
What do I do for exercise? Well, I like to hang upside down, okay? And then when I hang upside down, I like to do, that's how I like to do my sit-ups, because I don't do them on the floor. I like to hang upside down, though, because, you know, I've been upside right all day, so I'd like to have things maybe fall back into place. That would be fun. Next thing is that I have what's called a pre-cord trainer, where I use my body weight to exercise and stretch at the same time. And then what I do is I do what's called padding and clapping, which is an art that goes back 10,000 years. I won't get into that right now. And then I do what's called pelvic stretching and enhancement, because it's all about the pelvis, because that's the root of everything. And everybody gets jammed up in their pelvis. And when you get jammed up in your pelvis, then that's when you're really going to start to get into trouble. And so the whole thing about the human body is it must flow. And block you have there, like a cancer patient would have about 30 blocks in their body. But what doctors do, and even what we call functional medicine doctors, they'll look at the tumor, where we don't even look at the tumor at the beginning. We look at the rest of the body and getting rid of the physical blocks to bring up the energy, to bring up the flow. And then we go in and we use what's called Wolfe non-surgical, and we don't touch the tumor yet, but we go in and we pull the legs apart that actually feed the tumor, and we cripple it. So
okay.
Wow. And how long is that training? We only have 3 minutes left, Dr. Wolfe.
21 days is the training, and that's doing the whole life coach and the non-surgical. You know what? I just want to say this, that if you get rid of all the BS, which is dysfunctional belief systems, there's a practitioner in all of us. And if you think that you need to have a white coat and spend $150,000 and go to school for years to understand the human body or be the greatest healer that ever existed, then you've been so sucker punched.
Yeah. And we have 2.5 minutes left. Please, Doctor, tell people where they can get a hold of you, get a hold of your books, and where they can go and get help. And also do that.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have what's called Doc of Detox show every Wednesday, and you can see that if you go to my website. It actually at the top bar. And also every Monday I do Doc Talk Q&A, where people send in questions from all over the world. And if you want to call into my clinic, we'll send you my book free, Healthy to 100. You just have to pay the shipping. And the biggest gift I can give you is if you go to Quick Start at docofdetox.com, I'll give you 6 loving steps to do. And if you follow those, even if you never contact me, I promise you that I'll give you more empowering information, because whether you want to believe this or not, we all came from the same source, universal source, and we're all going back there. So we better recognize that we need to love ourselves and everyone else.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Hey, Dr. Wolfe, if you could speak to the whole world right now and the world would listen, what would you tell them?
I would say that it's not healthcare, it's self-care. I would say that love is the answer, but only when it becomes self-medicated and when you take massive personal action at loving yourself, forgiving yourself, honoring yourself, and respecting yourself, then the whole world will change, and it will change. The whole world will change, and it never had to change. You be the change.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful. And just really quick, we got 30 seconds left. So you guys don't even know this yet, but I talked to your assistant, and we are booked for another show on March 17, same time. Thank you, Darrell.
No, thank you. Thank you to the two of you for allowing me to come on the show, because I'm truly blessed to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist.